Respect to yourself. Thank you for clicking. Thank you very, very much for clicking. Much, much, much love to yourself. See, we are all about love, mercy, and good vibes. And today's videos, watch the word and leave your comments. Much, much love to you out there. It's David. And tell us where you're watching from and
The Book of Numbers gets overlooked partly because it has a really boring name.
Which is a shame. In the Hebrew tradition, the book's name is Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness. And it's an epic travelogue about Israel's journey through the desert on their way to the land promised to Abraham.
Now, this pilgrimage should only take about 2 weeks on foot.
But instead, it takes them about 40 years.
That's crazy. It's practically half of someone's lifetime.
Yeah, it's a very long camping trip with lots of interesting stories, but let's remember, it's most helpful to back up and start with how this book is designed.
Right.
So the book is broken up into 5 sections. There are 3 wilderness locations, broken up by 2 road trips that link all the pieces together.
The first wilderness section is Mount Sinai, right here on the map.
And then in the second section, they travel to a region called Paran.
A whole bunch of things happen here in the wilderness of Paran.
And then in this 4th section is Israel's road trip to Moab.
The book ends with a large section in the wilderness of Moab, right across the Jordan River from the Promised Land.
Now, through all of these sections, the storyline just flows like a gripping dramatic movie. Everything starts great, but then the trip goes horribly wrong, and it all ends with the final redemptive moment, the surprising act of God's grace.
So let's jump into this story. It all begins at the wilderness at Mount Sinai, and we've become really familiar with this mountain.
Yeah, if you remember, Israel came here after Egypt, and they formed a covenant with God here, got the 10 Commandments here, built the tabernacle here, and they've been at this mountain for 1 full year.
And now they take a census to number the people as they prepare to leave.
Right, and they're given these instructions for how to organize all those people in the camp. God's presence in the tabernacle, and then the tribe of Levi and the priests around it, and then the rest of the tribes around them. And this pattern, it's this visual symbol for how God's holiness is at the center of their existence as a people.
And they're told that when the cloud of God's presence moves, they're to pack up and travel with it.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant is carried by the Levites out in front, and then the tribe of Judah, and on and on. And this order is also a symbol for how God's holy presence is their leader and guide through the wilderness.
We begin the second section of the book with enthusiasm as they leave Mount Sinai and travel up to Paran. God's with them, everything's organized. This is going to be great.
But it's not great. After just 3 days on the road, the people are complaining about their hunger and thirst, and then even Moses' brother and sister start bad-mouthing him in front of all the people.
Not a great start. But now we're into the third section, the wilderness of Paran. This is where they send the 12 spies to scout out the Promised Land. 2 of those spies come back, and they're really optimistic.
But the other 10 are freaked out, and they don't trust God, and they go around saying, we're going to get annihilated in there. And so they start a mutiny, and they try to appoint a new leader who's going to take all the people back to Egypt. And so basically, they are refusing to go into the Promised Land, and God honors their choice. He says that this generation is going to wander for 40 years and die in the wilderness, and only their kids will get to enter the Promised Land.
You know, this story here gets brought up many times in the Bible by different authors.
Yeah, and it always serves as a reminder that while God remains faithful to his people and his promises, he will honor their choices. He'll let them waste their whole lives if they choose to live in rebellion.
Okay, so the trip's been a disaster so far.
And it gets worse here in this 4th section as they're traveling to Moab. Even Moses has a moment of rebellion and is disqualified from entering the Promised Land. Then there's another rebellion among the people that results in this snake attack. And what makes all these rebellions even worse is that every step of the way, God has been providing. He's been offering forgiveness. He's been giving them food and water and this crazy stuff called manna.
Yeah, what is that stuff?
Yeah, no idea. But in spite of all this, they keep complaining, and they say that they wish they had died in slavery in Egypt.
If I was God, I would just give up on these guys.
You would think. But that's what makes this story in the final section so surprising. Israel has just arrived in Moab, and the king of Moab, he's freaked out that this huge group of people is traveling through his land. So he hires this pagan sorcerer named Balaam to pronounce curses on them.
This guy means business.
Yeah, and so Balaam, he says, okay, I'm going to pray to the Hebrew God, and let's see what happens. And 3 different times he attempts to curse them, but each time he finds that he can utter only blessing. Most surprising is the last blessing, where he prophesies that out of Israel will rise a victorious king. And this king is somehow going to be connected to God's promise to Abraham to bless all nations through this family. So here's Israel rebelling down in the camp, totally unaware that up in the hills, God is protecting and even blessing them.
The book ends here in Moab. Israel's getting ready to go into the promised land. They count up everyone again, just like at the beginning. They're leaving the old generation behind, including Moses.
But before they leave Moses, he gives them his last words of warning and wisdom. And that speech is what the next book, Deuteronomy, is all about.
There are 3 ways to keep people stuck. 1, get them focused on things they can't control. That's number 1. And look at the news. The news is all about getting you to focus on things you can't control. That's going to keep you stuck. Number 2, get you to focus on the things you don't have. So now we're going to focus on control and we're going to focus on lack. And just think about the news. Backtest what I'm saying. Now you're all out there, and the solution is now out there. You're looking out there for it. And then the last one is, I need to make sure I get you stuck in the past or in the future. Right? Now I've taken all power from you. And it is not all like somebody else can do this. We do this to ourselves. We focus on things we can't control. We focus on things we don't have. And we focus on the past or we focus on the future, keeping ourselves powerless to change our lives. So taking back control is, I focus on the one thing I can control, myself. I focus on the things I do have, gratitude, and I get in the very real present moment. Now is all there is of time. Now is all there is of time. And all creation happens now.
Okay. That's interesting. Oh, this was captured from a dashcam inside a cab in Japan. This is a horrifying ghost script from Japan. Oh, you see, this is now what the Japanese people call Kiminowarui. I mean, creepy. What the heck? Is this a ghost? What? It just appeared and disappeared. Oh my God. Oh, what? This is scary now. My God. Is this now a ghost? Is that how a ghost looks like? Please, is that real? Please share your thoughts, man.
High-torque power tools were invented to service satellites in orbit by NASA, because you can't just plug it into a 120-volt socket when you're floating in space. So the engineers said, how are we going to solve this problem? Let's make a high-torque power tool. So now NASA invents the high-torque. Now, that is the only way you're buying a power tool today, is the cordless variety. All construction sites, they're not looking for a power outlet for these things. So why didn't we invent this without the $20 billion space race? You didn't. You didn't think about it. You said, oh, I can plug it in. This is great. You're not even thinking what you need.
Oh, that's pretty reasonable though. Oh, you see all these things have passed and it's very scary, man. And now this video makes me wonder and sincerely concerned about all those innocent souls that are following this. And you see, we don't know whatever, if it's good or bad, but I think the God is within us, you see. And now we can project love out there and peace and forgiveness. And that way we can all achieve a specific goal without all these things of going through. You see, religion does not matter. Goal of spreading love and peace is what matters. Hit the super thanks button, guys, to support your
Domino's Pizza Institute announced yesterday that they are nearing completion of their 30-year study testing the limits of what human beings will eat.
People willingly ate everything our lab created. In fact, they pay money for it. The results continue to surprise me.
Over the course of the study, Domino's scientists have found that decreasing the nutritional value and increasing the visual repulsiveness of their pizzas only makes them more popular.
This applies to the crispy melt pizza. It's basically one pizza inverted on top of another pizza. It looks like something no animal should consume, much less a human.
One recent creation is constructed out of a cardboard-based crust layered in Oreo cookie crumbs and drizzled with a wax-like substance.
We hypothesized that the sight of it alone would repulse customers, but it became one of the most popular items on the menu.
The Domino's scientists now believe that a certain percentage of human beings may have a genetic predisposition to eat unhealthy foods made from other, even unhealthier foods. The Institute will next test human tolerance of the crispy nacho platter pizza, the big New York hot dog pizza, and the strawberries and cream milkshake dessert pizza.
In the final stages of this study, we plan to just top the pizzas with actual garbage, but judging from our findings, people will probably eat those too.
Dr. Morris said he initially had moral issues with conducting the tests on humans, but has since come to see the subjects as, quote, cheese and sauce consuming beings.
Oh, why would people want to consume such things? Oh my god, that is scary. Oh, but they said do it real stuff. Giants found in the moon. Giants! NASA doesn't want you to know that. What? Will mess with your mind. Oh, that giants exist. Notice what will appear. Oh my god. Look at this. At this what? It's one giant. It's a giant film on the moon. Oh my god. Notice the shadow. Oh, it even has a shadow. No, this is scary. Oh, what? With your shadow projected, you know, standing. He is part of two alien beings. How? Who live on the moon? Oh my god. Yes, now you know. Oh, I didn't know, but I'm scared and surprised if this was real. Notice this giant. This is a real giant. Notice the shadow. The shadow. Oh my god, what do you think? Fellow people.
Torus field is the only thing that exists. Top-down view of a torus field creates the lotus of life. You can see this symbol everywhere in nature. This is Capitol Hill in Rome. This is where Julius Caesar used to walk up and stand in the middle. It shows that they had a deep understanding of magnetism, the torus field, the atom. Your crown chakra is the same as a flower because your crown chakra is where the field all comes back into a 0 point on the top of your head, and it creates this spiral on the top of your head. Every cell, every organ, every body has this electromagnetic field. It is the only thing that exists, and it creates all forms. Now, you either have a strong or weak field. Every thought that you think is a vibrational frequency and is affecting every cell in your body. Every cell in your body has these fields. Every thought, every word, every emotion is either strengthening them or weakening them. It's the same with the food that you put in your body. You are literally a biological battery. This is why you need charging and not food. You can charge many different ways by putting your feet on the ground or eating electric food which is charged by the sun, fruits and vegetables. Illnesses show up in your etheric energy body first before they show up in your body. As above, so below. This body is the one before the physical body. This book is called The Hearth Book. It contains many syncretisms, truths, and knowledge. The link is in the bio.